So as you can tell, I'm an old man, but because I'm an old man and I'm an old man who grew up with the Sega Genesis, I grew up during the heyday, the classic era of Disney. Like, let's be real. There's a reason why Disney keeps re-releasing stuff from the 90s, because it was good stuff. And that translates over to video games as well. As someone who owned a Sega Genesis, I got to play games like Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse, which was a fantastic game. I got superior versions of multi-platform releases with games like Toy Story that looked better and had more levels on the Sega Genesis. Aladdin, which was a completely different game than the Super Nintendo version and far, far superior. If you're in the comments saying that the Super Nintendo version of Aladdin was better, you're wrong. I understand it's an opinion, but your opinion is completely wrong. And we'll talk about that on an episode of The Stash. But Disney games since then have been varying in quality. There's been some really good stuff like Epic Mickey, but then there's been some games like, well, Epic Mickey 2 wasn't all that great. Disney Illusion Island, though, is a brand new game exclusive to the Nintendo Switch, and I ended up with a review copy of this game. I wasn't quite sure what to expect from it. I had watched the trailers when it was first unveiled, and I was kind of confused as to what this game was trying to be. So we're going to talk about this game today and see what it's all about and see if it's a game that you could potentially enjoy. Now, to start things off, there is a story with the game. It's not that great. You go to this place, it's you're Mickey Mouse, there's Donald Duck, there's Goofy, there's Minnie Mouse. A little light on the female representation, Disney. I thought you guys were woke. You're not very woke, though, because there's only one female and 3 male characters, but who am I to assume anyone's gender such as that? But basically, you get invited to a picnic, and I guess like Goofy's hungry and Donald, they want some food and stuff like that. And you go to this picnic and you quickly realize it's not a picnic. Instead, some people from a village named Monoth are basically losing their books. People are stealing their books and you got to go get the books. So basically you have to go to these 3 separate biomes that all kind of have their own sort of feeling to them in order to get back the books. And it's fine. There's been better stories written. It's just sort of a catalyst. You end up meeting additional characters and stuff like that throughout the adventure. There's a little twist here and there. It's nothing too crazy, but it's enough to make the game sort of move along. Gameplay is what I was most curious about with this game, though, because it seemed like it was kind of a Mickeyvania, I guess you would call it. Basically like a Metroidvania elements into it, and where you would see areas that you can't access, and then you could get abilities that would allow you to access them as you go throughout your journey. I wouldn't say it's quite as pronounced as a standard Metroidvania game, though, because of the fact that usually you get the abilities kind of close to where you need to go, and then there is a little bit of a reason to backtrack, but it's just sort of for collectibles that you can unlock, additional artwork and stuff like that. The gameplay itself, though, is interesting because there's no combat, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. Like, yes, there's a little bit of combat with boss battles, but enemies on screen, they can't be defeated. Like, you just kind of jump over them. You kind of go out of your way to avoid them, and they'll kind of try to attack you. So it feels very different in terms of how the game presents itself. You're pretty much just platforming the entire time. And I think the platforming itself is actually very well done. It feels very snappy. You end up getting so many different abilities that allow you to do various things like climb up walls and do wall jumps and stuff like that. All sorts of stuff gets unlocked that makes your platforming better. And like I said, you usually get the ability close to an area where you need to have it in order to progress, but there is a little bit of incentive to go back if you're trying to 100% the game. It's an interesting decision. It's one that personally, I don't love it. I don't love it because I like a little bit of combat. Like, at least let me jump on the enemies, something like that. But I think people will enjoy that aspect about the game because it feels very different. The difficulty in the game is kind of interesting how they do it. Basically, when you choose your character, you can choose which sort of difficulty you want to do based on the amount of hearts you get. But even if you go with like a higher difficulty with less hearts, you still find lots of hearts on the level to refill your life. Checkpoints are all throughout the place, so there's never really a sense of danger with the game or anything like that. So, you know, once again, I think some people will like that. I think some people won't. There is local co-op where you can play with some friends and platform with your friends. It's only local co-op. I don't have friends. I don't really know people like that. So, you know, I didn't get to try this out, but as a single player game, it's fine. It's not the longest game in the world. And the gameplay itself, you know, I think some people will find it a bit unattractive, but it gets the job done for what it's trying to do. Would have been better with online gameplay though. Presentation wise, I think this is where the game really shines. At first, it looks kind of like a minimal art style. Like if you look, it's kind of like Streets of Rage and Double Dragon and a lot of these games that are coming out. Or when you look at screenshots of the game, you're like, you know, that's fine. But once you see the game in motion, like that's where the beauty really starts to shine. Now, I would have liked to have seen more variety and sort of callbacks to other Disney stuff, or, you know, other Mickey Mouse related movies and films that we've gotten over time as far as the areas you visit, but they all feel distinct enough. They all have little intricacies in the background, some nice graphical effects as well. It's a very good looking game and it runs very, very smoothly. There's never any sort of slowdown or anything like that. I think the presentation is very well done. There's a seamless integration between when you're about to have a cutscene and when you get back into the gameplay. It definitely has sort of an older Mickey Mouse aesthetic to it, you know, kind of like more so the Steamboat Willie sort of stuff, but I like it. You know, I think it works very well, and the audio, once again, is fantastic. All of the characters are voice acted, and I think they're all very well done. I haven't watched like a Mickey movie in a very long time. Like most of my Mickey memories are from that 90s period. I had like the big talking thing, the talking Mickey Mouse, where like you'd put a cassette tape in him and he would tell you a story. I'm pretty sure it was a Robinson Crusoe story. I don't know. I need to buy one of those again. But, you know, the voice sounds pretty similar to what I expected. Donald sounds good. Minnie sounds good. Goofy sounds good. The music is absolutely fantastic. Very whimsical. Makes you sort of get really into the feeling of the game. So overall, I don't think it's a bad game. It's a $40 game, and there is some fun to be had with it. But if you're not a fan of just strictly platforming and you like some combat in your game, I can see you getting a bit bored with this game pretty quickly. For me, I had to play the game in like small chunks because I would just find myself wanting a little bit more from the game. And I don't think that's necessarily the fault of the game. That's just the fault of what I like in my games and stuff like that. So like I said, you know, it's a $40 game. It's not the longest game in the world, like maybe 6-ish hours to get through the game, so you could probably beat it in an afternoon or two. But if you have younger kids who like Mickey and stuff like that, I think it's a really good game. Even though the platforming can be pretty challenging, the whole life system, the whole checkpoint system definitely sort of eases people into it. And, you know, it's fun. It's fun, but you have to be sort of in the mood for it. You kind of got to be in the mood for a more laid-back, platforming-based Mickeyvania game. I guess we're making a brand new genre here. So those are my thoughts on Disney's Illusion Island, exclusive to the Nintendo Switch. Let me know what you guys think of it in the comments section down below. Do you plan on picking up this game? If not, what price point do you want to get it at? If you don't want to buy it whatsoever, hey, thank you for watching till the end of this video. It helps out the channel. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. Literally what I just said. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well so you don't miss any uploads on this channel. And check out the stash too, because we're going to talk about some old Disney games on there. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.